So being thankful, the difference between I have to and I get to. Thanks changes everything. Now, since I've been here, we've talked a lot about Paul's writings on Sunday mornings. So by now, I'm pretty sure you understand that Paul gives us a lot of lists, a lot of instructions on things that we're supposed to do. And in our passage to Colossians, we see a long list of the things that Paul instructs the people to do. And frankly, it's a very intimidating list for us to. Let's see. Clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, patience. Bear with one another, forgive each other, clothe yourselves with love, and let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. It's a lot of stuff to do every day. But then he finishes that list with one more element. And be thankful. And if we are thankful, I think that changes everything. I mean, look, we spend our lives trying to figure out exactly what it is that we're supposed to do. I mean, what we're supposed to do to be saved, or how to be a good person, or how to be accepted in our culture, all of these things together. And good old Paul is very good at giving us lists. But you know what? Paul has this interesting way of saying that there is absolutely nothing that we must do, while at the same time saying that we must devote ourselves fully to following Christ in every way. Now, of course, we all know that the truest answer to this is that we simply must have faith. Christ takes care of the rest. But every time I say this, I can see the thought bubbles popping out there. Faith, huh? Well, does that mean that even the bad people, I mean, if they have faith, of course, does that mean they're automatically saved? I mean, what are we supposed to do with our faith? How do I know? So we turn to Paul. You didn't know I could see thought bubbles, did you? So we turn to Paul. And we see great lists like this one in Colossians that I read this morning. You want to know how to live? Hey, no problem. Have compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, patience. Bear with one another. Forgive one another. Clothe yourselves in love. Now, when we look at this, I mean, none of these are a big shock, right? Anyone hearing anything new today? No. So this is what we do. So we set out to be compassionate and kind and humble and meek and patient. And we try to bear with one another and we try to forgive each other. But we forget sometimes, don't we? I mean, it's hard to be kind when someone cuts off the story that we're telling midway through it. And then they start telling their own story that isn't nearly as interesting. And then we get this look. And all too quickly, we've lost the kindness and the patience. No, we don't say anything, but we've stopped bearing with one another. I mean, we're trying to be nice, trying to have patience, but it's hard. I mean, even with little things, it seems. But what if we try a different approach? What if we try a different approach to Paul's lists of do's and don'ts? What if we start with the last element of Paul's list? The one that he takes 2.5 verses to fully describe. What if we start with thankfulness? And then see if all of these other things just start to happen. Let's think about this for a minute. Paul finishes his list of how to act with this, and I'm just going to read it for you, starting at the end of verse 15. He says, "And be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly. Teach and admonish one another in all wisdom. And with gratitude in your hearts sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to God. And whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." So all of these verses wrap themselves up in thanks. Being thankful. What if we were to start all of our days with an attitude of thankfulness? Instead of just trying to be patient or kind, we start off by being thankful. You know what I mean. Count your many blessings. Name them one by one. And that's as close as you're going to get to hearing me singing. But seriously, right now, take the time to count your blessings. Really. Right now. Count your blessings. The good things in your life. The good people that surround you here in this church. People that are a part of your life, I don't know, over coffee every morning. The good people who we all know that we can call, and we all know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will be on our doorstep, ready to help with whatever we need. And of course, those are just a part of our blessings, just a part of what we have to give thanks for. What other blessings can you count? And from the country that we live in, to the clean air that we breathe, to a pace of life that allows us to actually enjoy the living, to the safety and security that we feel when we go to sleep at night. We all have a tremendous amount to be thankful for. So it's not a surprise to me that Paul spends some time discussing thankfulness. You notice he charges right through compassionate and kind and patient and all of those, because I think he knows that if we can just figure out how to be thankful, all those other things will just fall into place. It seems that it's being thankful that's the hard part, and thus requires an explanation by Paul. Thankfulness truly is the difference between I have to and I get to. I have to be kind. I have to be patient. I have to forgive you when you do something that bothers me. We start feeling that life is full of have-tos when we neglect to be thankful. We think we have to do these things to be a good Christian, a good person, to have faith. But if we start with thankfulness, Paul says, and be thankful, and then proceeds to discuss what thankfulness looks like. And you'll notice that the list of have-tos stops. Instead, he goes inside of us. He goes inside of us and challenges us to change what we are feeling, not just what we're doing. Be thankful, he says, and let the word of Christ dwell within us. How do I do that? It starts simply with being thankful. Counting your many blessings. And I'm serious, naming them one by one. We have a God who would come to earth, become human, and live and die for us. Count your blessings. We are placed in a Christian community where there are people that we can go to day or night who will do whatever it is that we ask of them. Count your blessings and be thankful. And Paul goes on. He says that we should sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with gratitude in our hearts. Don't just sing them. Don't just mouth the words. Don't just go through the motions, but sing them with gratitude in our hearts. Gratitude, the big word for thanks. Thanks because we get to respond to God. Thanks because there isn't anything that we can do or anything that we need to do to be even with God, but simply giving thanks. Simply giving thanks and having a feeling of gratitude in our hearts when we sing praises to God. And Paul goes on. He says that whatever it is that we do, whenever, wherever it is, Sunday mornings, Tuesday afternoons, Thursdays, we do it in the name of Christ, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Giving thanks in all that we do in the name of Christ. So if we're driving down the road, going through the list of our blessings, feeling gratitude for God, and someone cuts us off, even though we're late, do we stand a better chance of forgiving them? If we have a feeling of thanksgiving in our hearts, gratitude for God and those around us, and someone invariably does something that rubs us the wrong way, yes, it is easier for us to reflect the love of God in our response if we are first thankful. But my friends, if we walk out of here so stressed that we have to be kind and we have to be patient and humble and meek and full of love, and we're trying so hard to be good, but maybe we can do it this time. Okay, patient, kind, I get this, I can do it. But if we aren't first thankful, for what God has done and what God has given us, we're simply carrying this burden to be good on our own backs. And I suppose it's easy until something happens that sets us off. Someone says something or does something, and I don't want to be kind to him because he's kind of a jerk. And we get that look. I've had that look. It's all too easy to fall into this when we're trying so hard to do the right things. But if we just take a step back from stressing over being kind and patient and compassionate, and we start instead by finding some gratitude in our hearts, singing some praises with thanksgiving, and just being thankful. If we start by counting our blessings, then we see the world around us in a different light. Now, it's not perfect, of course, but the world around us looks different when we are thankful for what we have. The world becomes a much easier place to be patient and compassionate if we are first thankful. It truly is not what we do that Paul is trying to teach us here. It is why we do it that matters. Why we take the time to be kind and compassionate. Why we take the time to be meek and humble. That is what matters when we have faith. When we have faith expressed outwardly by first giving thanks to God and to our Christian community that God has given us, then we put ourselves in a place where we will start wanting to do these things that Paul lists for us. As we count our blessings, it becomes a lot easier to be kind. As we list out what we are thankful for, it becomes a lot easier to be patient with others. As we fill our hearts with gratitude, it becomes a lot easier to be compassionate. Gratitude is a great way of expressing our faith. Without gratitude, we're left with a list of tasks to accomplish each day. Being kind, meek, compassionate. With gratitude, we no longer have tasks to accomplish. We have opportunities to share the love of God. With gratitude, we change from a people who have to be compassionate to a people who simply are compassionate. Because we are grateful for what God has given us. Because we are grateful for the community that surrounds us. So be a thankful people. Sing praises with gratitude in your heart. And it truly will surprise you what the Lord has done, both for you and within you. Amen.